And today is February the 23rd.
Anna,
Yes.
Josephine did the surgery in this morning. She's
Yes.
fine.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for letting me know. I'm happy to hear that.
And it's the 24th.
Yes, it's the 20th. I prepared this yesterday. My mind is conditioned to, Anyway, so for today, I would like to ask a volunteer for our prayer, and there is a very good reason why I picked this one. And my volunteer for today's prayer is Hyacinth. Hyacinth, could you please?
The Our Father.
Our Father, as we know and as we gather here today, and we know we have our mentors, the mentors of this group, and the higher beings here with us. Oh gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, they are here with us. Please, high thanks, do the prayer for us today.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
So
Amen.
we got wow, today we got a very special blessing. Each one of us. So you all know we finished with the discussion about the missionaries of the light, and we'll be working next time with the following book, Workers of the Eternal Life Eternal. I do not know, to me this title is not correct. I always say eternal life, but for some reason that's how they translated life eternal. But anyway, so that's gonna be the next book discussion on this series from André Luiz. And last time that we met in our last meeting, we had said that we finished with the moral perfection is one of the chapters from this book number 3 that outlines or covers the moral laws or divine laws. So we all saw that we are graduated on this book number 3, a long year discussion. And if you remember, if you recall, we were talking about what we studied the whole year on the moral laws. And what I said, a comment that I made about this documentary / movie about Albert Einstein. And when he made a comment, actually it was not a comment. He had, right after the war, I think it was end of 1945 or mid of 1946, something like this. He had this Japanese journalist coming to visit him and to ask a few questions. How does it feel? And what about it? How he was feeling about all the outcome from the war. So this journalist, he had very, very challenging questions to a man that was already troubled because he felt guilty. And by the way, all that Einstein did was, in his calculations, he realized and he proved that it was possible to release this huge amount of energy using just a small amount of mass. So that was all he did, his contribution to the whole atomic bomb and etc., etc. And then one thing that we cannot deny is the fact that all those discoveries, meaning all the discoveries and things that we became aware of as the scientists were unfolding this technology, atomic technology, lots of things came along, good things. As a matter of fact, those were the intentions from Einstein. As a pacifist, he was looking into science to improve humankind life quality. So, but evidently, because we do not understand the moral values, the moral laws, we do not have a very good ethics. You know, I can see very well when Einstein was out there in his lecture explaining his findings, and lots of people thinking about all the good things coming out of it. But I can see in the same audience people thinking, releasing this large amount of energy, I can see exploding a bunch of things, you know. So because of this disparity, I do not know how to say, but this very, very large, wide range of people with good intentions, people with not and the moral values and questionable ethics, then we have what we have today. So after thinking, that's for a few minutes on on the questions that he had in his mind. He had because he was in this meeting with a journalist, Japanese journalist. So he said, "How does it feel?" He said, "Well, the war is won, but the peace is not." And then we were discussing last week, why not? Well, because we do not have the moral values, we do not have the ethics to earn that peace that we all want to. So, and one of the things, you know, all the books that we read from Allan Kardec and all the books on spiritism, you will see they are very consistent in a way. What is our ultimate goal? What we are here for? So we are seeking perfection. And evidently, we will not achieve perfection in a single lifetime or in this world. When I say this world, I'm not talking about planet Earth, but this class of world, right? So this is just the third world in the whole scale. So we are far away from perfection, but that's our journey. That's one of the stages, is for us to learn a lot about ethics, moral values, etc., etc. And little by little, we will grasp the true meaning of all of those teachings, and little by little we will be perfect or will become perfect as we go. So, like, I think it was St. Paul said one day, and he was not saint at that time, he was just a disciple. He said that gravitating towards divine union is the goal of humanity, and to do that, we need first to understand, and we need to live and practice the model values. So yes, we can earn the peace we want, and we need to practice and live those moral and ethics values to earn the perfection we will become one day. So, and as you can remember, we saw all the moral laws. We read them all, we discussed them all, and we can tell there is really nothing fancy about them, right? So worship, labor, reproduction, preservation, distraction, society, progress, equality, liberty, justice, love, charity. This is not anything new to us. So, but somehow we still do not have all that knowledge fully imprinted in our soul yet, right? Hence all the trials, hence the reality we live today, and eventually we'll get there. And by the way, I just want to call attention to the last three here: law of equality, law of liberty, law of justice, love and charity. Doesn't ring a bell? French Revolution, égalité, liberté, fraternité. So this is
Fraternité,
French
égalité.
Revolution, égalité and liberté. So this is French Revolution, meaning, yeah, we, little by little, humankind is trying to step into these teachings and trying to absorb, but evidently we make mistakes, and French Revolution took a how can I say, a different tour, had a detour somewhere, and then we derail the wagon, and something didn't go wrong, right, but the teachings and the learnings, they are there, and it is up to each one of us to take our time, understand the meaning of those teachings, and take our role in all this, in our own education. So as we did graduate in the book number 3, Moral Law, so I said last time the next chapters for us to learn and start discussion. The discussions are the introduction and the prolegomena. However, I was putting together some of the materials, and I realized that in several other discussions that we had last year, we did talk a lot about Allan Kardec methodology, Spiritism, the concept and goals, and all those topics. They are here: introduction, prolegomena, and we even talk about the 15 basic principles of the Spiritism. I remember when we did a session just to talk about the 15 basic principles of the Spiritism. And all of this, they are here: introduction and prolegomena. I'm not saying that these two we should not be reading. We should, They are very important. They more than likely will explain a lot of things about the other books and about Spiritism. But for the sake of this study, I will go ahead and do the book number 1, First Causes. And every once in a while, we'll be talking about some of the 15 basic principles of the Spiritism. So every once in a while, we will stop and then we'll cover some of those. For now, we'll concentrate in first causes, meaning first causes is about God, universe, creation, etc. So, I can only imagine Allan Kardec with this huge material, several, I don't know, thousands of messages from the spirits and teachings, etc. And his task was to organize all of that. So I can only imagine Allan Kardec thinking, yeah, I have all of this, but start from where? Where do I start? Because what he had in his hand was so huge. Honestly, if it was me, I'll be lost, from where to start. But Allan Kardec, he had a very good analytical mind. He was very logical. From where we start? From the beginning. So, yeah. So it's logic. So, and the beginning is really the first cause is about God and its infinity. That's why I picked up the prayer of today. Hallowed be thy name, your kingdom come. It's about God. So we take God as the beginning of everything. And come on, computer. Do not let me down. Yeah, so that's the first question is, to the group, what is the first question Allan Kardec selected to start with his book and why? Do I have anybody? Guys, you can, Giles, I know you have the book open, so you cannot cheat. So what is the first question you think Allan Kardec would pick to start with his book and why he did that? No guess? Yes, Claudia.
Find my
Brave.
buttons. Yeah, I'm looking at this. Well, like, what do you want us to call you? And where is your kingdom?
Wow, you were so, Allan Kardec would be so happy to have you in his team. You had very, very nice questions. Yeah, it's very interesting. But Allan Kardec, the first question was, what is God? He was not asking who, but he was asking, what are you? So it's very interesting because the answer was God is supreme intelligence, the first cause of all things. Is the supreme intelligence the first cause of all things? I confess the first time that I read this answer, I thought to myself, okay, he's answering, but not defining God to me. And then I realized later on that it was a mistake from my end to think about defining God. And then there is this comment that is in one of the books from Leon Denis, The Great Enigma, chapter 5, The Need of the Idea of God. So he says in that book, the idea of God asserts itself and imposes itself outside and above all systems, of all philosophies, of all cultures and beliefs. So meaning, doesn't matter your education, where you come from, what time or era you were born, all civilizations, everybody somehow had the idea of something much bigger than themselves. So it's like something in our DNA, somehow, regardless how primitive that civilization was, they all knew there was something, right? Please, Hyacinth. Hyacinth, yes, you have it.
Yes, that is remarkable. I find that everybody thinks there is something bigger. All civilizations, there is something greater.
Yeah, it's amazing because I confess that that's the idea I have when I see those caverns with paintings and you know, they are what, 25,000 year old or something like this, and they are trying to depict or define something, and the way that they found was depicting the nature. And to me, it's like, well, what are the best way to paint the creator if not by its creation? So, and one of the comments also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well,
we are
You
listening
have
to
your
you.
hand
I was
raised?
going to say Hyacinth wanted to say something too, so I'll wait my turn.
No, go ahead, Gloria.
Well, we're starting to hear, at least I am, from many different sources, this whole concept of generational trauma, where things that have been done to our ancestors or to our race or to, you know, our tribe or whatever, that's passed down through generations. So I believe, why wouldn't it also be possible to pass down generational knowledge of God, the existence of God?
Mm-hmm.
It's
There
just,
is a question about it. There is a question about this. But if you hold that thought for a minute, there is a question that is, I think it tackles a little bit on the comment you had. Gloria, hi, Cynthia, you want to say something?
Yes, it was, I was going to say that also something else is that the cave paintings are very similar. The animals are very similar in some of them in different parts.
Yes. 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 And And there is something else to say, that every civilization, when they were trying to reach out to God or any divine being, they were elevating, they were going higher, constructions, whatever. Like, there is this need of me, I need to elevate myself, I need to elevate my thoughts, I need to go up to reach out to this divine being. So it's something very common to every civilization as well. Maria, please.
I think that's very interesting. You show us the difference between who is God and what is God. I'm thinking that I stay in Spiritism for 53 years. And nowadays, when I think what is God or who is God, I don't have answer, because I don't have conditions to understand what really he is. When Kardec was working in decodification, many times the spirit of truth said that we don't have words to describe many things that we ask about. And I think that we are only beginning to think about the many things, the very important things about God and the universe. And we are like a child asking questions about things that only adult people can understand.
Can understand, yeah. And you're right. So we are limited by somewhere in the book of Genesis as well says we are limited beings, limited by time and space. And we want to understand God with this limitation. We want to put God within that limitation. So that's why I said, that a little after I said, okay, so this is answering what is God, but it's not defining God, is because the more I live, the more I study, the more I understand that I'm not yet in condition to understand God. So because I'm limited by space, I'm limited by time, and God is not. So, Luis, sorry, Livia.
Yes, I was going to say that exactly. The God is the uncaused cause, outside of time, outside of space. So that's so difficult for us to conceive the idea of God. Maybe we can feel something of God, but not approach rationally. Because if we are incarnate spirits and you get out of your body and you feel how much you can think more when you are outside of body, imagine to think about God here in this body or even outside the body. It's impossible, right? Because it's the same thing as asking a chair to explain you that made the chair, right? It's something
That's a
that,
good
so
point, yeah.
the spirits say that we will reach a point that we'll try to conceive God in a much higher way, but not for now. For now, we need to feel God and try to follow its rules, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you. So, Allan Kardec said, based on one of the answers from the spirit, so he said in the book of Genesis, the need for belief in God is instinctively lodged in the human mind and arises from the axiom there is no effect without a cause. So that's exactly what Louise was talking about, how to explain to a chair who you are. There's no, you created the chair, but no. So the next question to the group is, what inference can be drawn from the innate perception possessed by all of humanity concerning God's existence? Okay, Hyacinth, please.
I should think that when everybody feels this, there must be a cause, there must be a spirit that they can intuit, that they can perhaps feel, but they don't know what it is. But I think that, yeah,
Yeah, you
some
have a.
people have experienced God in different ways,
Mhm.
and He's infinity. So I don't think we can limit Him to say, this is what He is, or this is what He is. He's
Mhm.
infinitely bigger than anyone can think.
Yeah, I agree. And the other interesting thing, as we were talking about that, I was thinking it is so hard to go back once you understand and you believe because you experienced in your unique way. It's so hard to go back and deny and explain why not, right? It's almost like I mean, in my mind, it's almost like impossible. I cannot find any other route to deny, or it's something very unique. So the answer to that is that God exists. So what inference can be drawn from the innate perception possessed by all humanity concerning God's existence? That God exists, because from where this idea originates, if there were no real basis, once again, this is a corollary of principle stating that there can be no effect without a cause. That's the answer to question number 5 in the Spirit's book. And next question is, where can the proof of God's existence be found? Oh, Luis, sorry, I didn't see your hand raised.
Oh, yes, I remember an anecdote about Laplace, the mathematician and astronomer in France. He was in a planetarium with an atheist once, and the planetarium is a planetarium works with a very state-of-the-art equipment apparatus to show the solar system and the stars, and a very good projector, right? Very advanced, from Switzerland. And the guy who was atheist asked Laplace, who made this? And he said, chance.
Mm-hmm. Hold that thought, guys. Chance.
So all that complex thing that you're seeing here, projecting all the stars in the dome of this planetarium, was made by chance, right? Chance made it all. And the guy, I think, captured the message. Go on, Giles.
It's worth mentioning at this point that I just put in the chat in both languages. The chances of that happening by chance are 64, what is it? Billion trillion to 1 against. So if you think that's chance, then you've got a very strange idea. You should buy lottery tickets with all your money every weekend in that case, because 64 billion trillion to 1 against the constants being just the way they are. If this is not proof of spirit, I don't know what is.
else?
And you are a scientist, Ana Castro, so I don't think you've looked at it. I've told you about this YouTube video before. And you know, as a scientist, there are constants. And the number seems to vary between 10 and 250, or depending how you count them. But you know that if any one of them were to change by as little as 1%, the universe as it is could not exist. So
Yeah.
where's the argument? There is no argument. This is scientific proof.
Yeah.
As much as any kind of scientific proof actually exists.
Yeah.
And yeah, and while we're at it, entropy is such a depressing concept that I wonder people have not put it together yet, that as entropy increases, in other words, chaos increases, so spirit is refined. There's the whole game. And I've never read this anywhere, but it is, but it's such an obvious conclusion once the thought occurred to me. Spirit increases in quality as matter decreases in quality. There's the answer to entropy. All right, well, I'll leave you to it because enough.
I'll tell you, if we start talking about entropy, we'll never leave the room. It's gonna be I like the topic. Anyway, so where can proof of God exist be found? So Giles was talking about some theories and but since we're studying the Spirit's book and Allan Kardec's book, so let's see what those, come on, computer. Let's see what.
It's a bit unfair to
Okay,
look for
yeah,
an
there we go.
answer like that in Kardec's book, because the science was by no means anywhere near advanced as it is today. And the concept of the
He had to
constants,
rely a lot on philosophy. Yes.
right? And
Yeah, he had to rely on a lot on philosophy and
the
other
reality of the
sources.
constants today is just overwhelming. You don't have to go any further, because
Yes.
64 billion trillion to 1 against. It's unimaginably impossible.
Huge. Yeah. So today we do have the technology to know a lot of things. What we are missing, going back to book number 3, is ethics, moral values, etc., etc. So we still do not understand the divine or natural laws. But the spirits back then answered to Allan Kardec in this question number 4, where can the proof of God exist be found? The spirit's answer was, in a premise that is applied in science, there is no effect without a cause. Investigate the cause of anything that is not the work of human beings, and reason shall provide the answer. So it's very interesting, this type of question, because here it is, the spirits, they're calling us, they're asking us to pay attention to reason, right? And today, more than ever, we have more technology, we know better, we had a lot of other evidences, but still there are a lot of people denying. Luis, please.
Yes, that's the question that everybody runs away from. For example, scientists, when you ask, what caused the universe? The Big Bang. What caused the Big Bang? An explosion. What caused the explosion? What caused what something that existed before the Big Bang, And then you go searching for the cause of the cause of the cause, you come to God. Yes, what causes consciousness, for example?
Yes.
Consciousness is intelligence. And if something that causes intelligence is dumb, this is stupid, this is, it does have no logic,
Yeah. There is I think somewhere I got some paragraph talking about that from the book of Genesis, I believe. Oh, by the way, Giles, you will love this. Gagarin flew into space, but didn't see any God there. So that was the infamous sentence said by Nikita Khrushchev in the plenum or the plenarium of the Central Committee about the state's anti-religion campaign in Russia. So he's saying that the astronaut flew into the space but didn't see God there. Oh my goodness, what a great chance he had to shut his mouth. Gloria, please.
I like this. Investigate the cause of anything that is not the work of human beings. And the first thing that came to mind was a tree. We can plant a seed, we can plant an acorn, but that tree is a miracle beyond our ability. We can't make it. We can only
Yes.
Same thing with stars. We can look at them and wonder, but we can't create a star. So then, you know, then you think, okay, so who did? There's got to be something very intelligent that, you know, how does a bird fly? I can see people, you know, even in very simple cultures, just being in awe and wonder of these miraculous things that are
Mhm.
not the work of human beings.
Hold that thought, because today you are very much inspired. So as I was putting together these questions, I found this very nice video on YouTube. 6 proofs for God's existence. It's not spiritism. I hope you guys enjoy. It's about less than 8 minutes video, but I was bringing up some concepts that is exactly the same type of concept that we will see in the Spirit's book, and we'll see in Genesis, the book of Genesis. Even though I highly doubt that I even know who Allan Kardec was. But look at the concept, and he's calling us 6 proofs for God's existence. Remember that one of the things that we said, Spiritism is a teaching from the Spirit. It's not man's work. And because of that, and we did study in the universal control, we can see that many people around the world were inspired. I know they do not share the same belief, doesn't matter. So I hope you guys, if the sound is okay.
Anna, you are freezing.
Yes, you're frozen, Anna.
Anna, we can listen you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. But sometimes you are frozen.
Okay, just a sec. I'm freezing. So, yeah, my signal today is very, very bad. Can you hear that? Can you see?
Socrates once stated that we should follow the argument wherever it
Yes.
Okay.
leads. When we look at the most profound question of life, does God exist? We should certainly follow his advice.
Pode aumentar o volume, amiga.
When we do, we'll
Oh no. Internet, please.
find evidences that show
Sorry,
us
guys,
God.
but my internet is. Oh,
Anna,
sorry
Anna,
about that.
Anna, what about if you
Anyway,
turn
I
your
will send you
video
the
off?
link to this.
God is real. Let's look at 6 proofs that show God exists. Number 1, the universe must have a cause. The most fundamental law of science is the law of cause and effect. And it says that for every material effect we see, there is a cause that came before it or was simultaneous to it, and that is greater than it. The universe is a material effect. So what caused the universe? You see, if you don't believe in a creator, then you have to suggest something like a singularity. That's what is popular today, that there was some type of singularity that exploded in something called the Big Bang. But then when you try to get down to the bottom of what's a singularity, well, what we hear from the scientific community that suggests to us, the cosmologists, the singularity was something that popped into existence from nothing. Do you know that if there ever were a time when there was nothing, that's exactly what we would have now? The idea that something, they said that that singularity wouldn't have followed the laws of nature. Well, then, so what are we left with? We're left with the fact that the universe had a beginning, and it was not a natural cause. It was something above nature. It was something super nature, something supernatural. And so when we see the material effect of the universe, we can know that there was a supernatural creator that caused the universe. Proof number 2, design demands a designer. It is a truism that everybody recognizes that this universe looks designed. In fact, when we see the various different aspects of nature, and we see birds and squirrels and trees, and we see all of the things that they do so well, many times we as humans, we try to copy and mimic that design, but often we don't do nearly as well as the design that we see in nature. We look at the design of the human body and the human hand and the arm and the leg and the brain, and we see that those are some of the most advanced, technologically savvy pieces of equipment ever put together, and we try to mimic them and copy them, and we can't do it as well. Why? Because this universe exhibits design from the starry sky at night to the fingertips on your hand. The design is overwhelming. It's everywhere. Where does design originate? Well, what you and I both know is that when you see things that function and they're complex, that design comes from an intelligent designer. Big explosions just simply don't bring about order. They don't cause things that are functional and complex to come into existence. The design we see in the universe demands a supernatural, intelligent designer. Proof number 3, life demands a supernatural life giver. You see, in the material world, we have come to understand there is a law of biology called the law of biogenesis. Law of biogenesis simply says this, that in this material, natural world, life comes from previously existing life of its own kind. Now, when we look at how people used to think about life, they said, no, life can arise spontaneously from non-living chemicals. And yet every single biological experiment has shown us is biologically impossible. Life doesn't arise from non-living chemicals. From where did life arise? Where did life originate if it doesn't arise? You see, the idea that there's no God suggests to us that there had to be some singularity without a cause that exploded, and that explosion brought about design, which we've never ever seen happen, and then ultimately the non-living lawgiver. If some things are objectively morally right and other things are objectively morally wrong, then there must be a God. You see, if we evolved from primordial slime over multiple millions of years, at what point did objective moral values arise? We don't look at a dog and say that that dog objectively, morally violated some rule when he steals a bone from another dog. We don't say, hey, he violated a objective moral value. We just don't say that. But we do say that humans can perpetrate things that are objectively morally wrong, that humans can be involved in things that are morally right. If that's true, there must be a God. Proof number 5, free will exists. The atheistic idea that there is no God is founded on the idea of materialism. The idea that this material world is all that there is, all that there was, and all that there ever will be. Because of that, atheism has to suggest that you as a person don't really have free will, that there is no being inside of your body or brain that is super matter, that really what's going on in your brain is just electrons bouncing around, and you're the product of those bounces, and you don't really make decisions on your own. It's just the physical laws and properties going on in your brain. If you are watching this video of your own volition, then the fact of the matter is there has to be a God that can account for that free will that you as a person have. There has to be a God if there is free will. And proof number 6, human reasoning. You see, we reason on a regular basis. We understand abstract ideas. If we were products of blind chance, random processes over multiplied millions of years, reasoning and the laws of reasoning simply would have no explanation. And yet we reason together on a regular basis. From where does reason arise? It's got no naturalistic atheist explanation. Antony Flew, the atheist who wrote Theology and Falsification, the most popular for the last 100 years, last century. In 2006, he co-wrote a book titled The World's Most Notorious Atheist Became a Believer. He stated that his rule of life had always been to follow the evidence where it leads. And he said he followed it. And it led him to the conclusion that there is a supernatural intent.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I apologize for the weak signal that we had. My internet connection is very unstable for some reason today, but I will send you all the video you can see. But this guy, he's not he doesn't know what proofs that they selected to say, yeah, God exists. They were inspired, right, by the same type of beings, you know, that inspired folks like Allan Kardec to put together the knowledge. So it is having the Are you there?
Yes, Anna.
Sorry.
We are,
Yeah,
but you
sorry.
aren't.
I did lost my connection for a few seconds. So I was about to say, what is my note over here? Yeah, so I was about to say that it is written in the book of Genesis from Allan Kardec, chapter 2, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess it's too cold in Texas.
6. Allan Kardec says,
It's freezing.
Luiz, você consegue avisar a Ana que ela está ficando offline?
Eu pus no chat box.
Pois é.
So I
Ela
know
pode acessar.
sometimes,
Yeah. Go, Carol.
sometimes on the global gathering, when people get freezing and all that, they turn off their video, but they can still talk. I didn't know if that would make a difference.
Yes, maybe for Anna. She let's suggest here. Yes. Let's see. She's not there anymore. No, she. Well, it's really unstable, her
Yeah.
connection.
Continua aí, Luiz.
This is such a good lesson. I want her to repeat it next week so we can hear it.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
This is
think
so
she
good.
said she was going to send the video out
Yes,
to all
she
of
did.
us.
Yes, she did.
Yes.
Let's see if she had left any. No, she didn't leave any message in the WhatsApp group. Let me see here. No. Yeah. No. So, guys, who is going to continue the lecture about the existence of God to all of us? Let's choose someone here. Let me see. Anna, she's now sending a message. Her first word is folks. Folks, I think even her WhatsApp is not working very well. Okay, now, apologies, but I lost my connection. Oh, she lost her connection. Hey, but how come we continue?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
This is interesting because I thought if she had lost her connection, it wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Just phenomena happen, right?
It's
In this kind of meeting. Yes.
Maybe if you have give her the idea
Luiz,
of video.
She
Yeah,
said,
When we talk about God, the connections crash
Yes.
time, Luis.
A very powerful subject, right?
You know what's powerful is that picture she put up, because I read someplace that we look up and we think those are stars, but each of those is a galaxy.
yeah.
And so they're literally in a little piece of space like this that we see in a picture. There are literally millions of galaxies in that little, and when you think that the universe is expanding at an expanding rate, it just, my mind can't. And that's what I was going to say earlier. I think because of our limited ability to comprehend the incomprehensible, what my ego mind does is it interferes because it's getting threatened. I think it's getting threatened by the I don't want to say by God, but just by my even trying to comprehend the incomprehensible, it messes with me.
Yes, when you talk
I'll
about
read
people,
something and then I lose it. I'll lose it right after I read it because it's about this. It's about things that I can't put inside my little box.
yes,
You got to
Yes.
make your box bigger.
I
for it.
know.
yes, when I was in the university, I realized something about all those guys who were atheists and rational. The point is, there is a pendulum reaction from that came from the effect of the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, and people are afraid of going into this, doing the beliefs or like God and so on. And that's why Spiritism was so important to me. I said, look, I'm free from all this kind of dogmas from the Middle Ages because I have this rationality that spirituality brings to us, right? And at the same time, there's another second fear, the fear of having to change, right? A great fear. These guys, they have a kind of, what do you call it? Cognitive resonance, right? A kind of a very psychologically violent reaction towards any belief of life after death, the existence of a spirit, or God, because otherwise they would have to change a lot their habits. Because if there's a God, there's loss, right? If there's a God, because the connection we have with God is its loss, right? And the rules, God is the owner of the company. And when he brings to us prophets and big mediums, it wants to show to us that there are some rules that if you follow, you'll be much happier than if you don't. But, and that's why sometimes very humble people can be happy and very intelligent people cannot. Because look, suppose you are the owner of a company and you have two guys in your company, a guy who's very intelligent, he knows a lot of things about the company, but he doesn't want to know you, who are the owner of the company. He doesn't want to know the rules you set for people to follow. He just wants to do the way he likes, the way he pleases, right? And there's another one that has not much knowledge, but the guy is obedient. He follows the rules. He cares for what you think. He cares for what you demand. So which one would you choose to have a confidence on, right? Of course, the second one. The other one, on the contrary, is very intelligent, but he's a real piece of work for the company, right? So this is the problem about knowledge and knowledgeable people in this planet. If they don't believe in something superior, if their pride and vanity goes beyond the border, they are in for very big surprises, right, in the afterlife and even in this life here, right? Unfortunately, and the spirits that communicate like Chico Xavier spirits, you see, this is a big problem on this planet, right? This kind of a mega intellectual search and quest for this mega intellectual approach of life without humility, without getting to know that there are forces that are way beyond our forces. So they said, while we don't get into this, things are going to be very tough on this planet, right? And that's why Jesus Christ said, be meek and mild the way I am. Well, the greatest guy on earth was the most humble, right? This is very interesting, isn't it? That sensation I felt when I talked to Chico Xavier. The guy had a kind of humility that was kind of unbelievable. So powerful, right? The greatest mediumistic aerial of the century in this country, and you approached him as so humble. It was just like a little mother, right? And it was very feminine in this way, very so humble. And I hugged him, and I wanted to stay there. I met him in a pharmacy in Uberaba. I want to stay here. But oh, Sergio, leave him. I was 15 years old. So leave him and go, okay, I want to stay here. I like this guy, right? I want to talk to him. Right? I'll talk to him away. Right? All the afternoon was so nice and so humble that you feel proud. You feel, approaching a person like that is something that's, oh my goodness, I need to take care of my pride. I need to look because, but as we live along with so many people that are as pride as us, right? We don't just, right, have this click, but when you approach a person like that, you say, wow. And this humility, it's what really makes him powerful that way, right? And we, for example, admire people who are proud.
No.
So we admire pride many times. No way, sometimes we do, Gloria. For example, in the Spiritist field, right? I've seen some people that you look at the guys, oh my goodness, so much pride. But many people like, because as we are proud, sometimes we praise pride, right? And we, sometimes throne these people. That's what happened to Christianity, right? We put the people that were proud and the power and representatives as representatives of Christianity, and they had nothing to do with Christianity for sure. So this is what we've been doing for the last 2,000 years. Let's see what's gonna happen. Well, guys, I think any other comments, you're free to comment. And
I was just thinking about the people that I know who are atheists, and I know personally, I know one who's a really good guy, but he is prideful. He's arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, he's responsible for his goodness, it's not coming from somebody higher than he.
Yes.
And I know other people who are not good guys, who are atheists, and they are very, very prideful. And I guess I was shaking my head because the people I'm drawn to, like you said with Chico, they are the people who are so humble, and yet there's so much there. You can feel it.
Yes.
And that for me is the difference, because I'm repulsed by arrogance and I'm attracted to humbleness. It's something I feel here instead of here.
Believe me, Gloria, this is a very, very good step forward that your spirit can make, right? Because this is not easy. This is not easy. Many people like proudful people. They like the manifestation of pride in the people, but they are not conscious of that. In the religious field, this is very common, right? When you, okay, Carol, go on.
Why do you think that is like that, Luis?
Experience.
That people like people that are really, really proud people.
Yes, for example, Jesus Christ was criticized by his people there, the people of Galilee, because he had no titles, because he had no noble origin, and these things, they are representations of pride, like titles, nobleness, and things like that. And if you don't have this, for example, suppose if you get a person, I was there, I've been studying Spiritism since I was 13 years old. But if you get me, and once I was in the Spiritist Center, and they needed to choose a guy to speak about a very delicate point, I don't remember what. The guy was a psychologist, and he was a psychiatrist, and he had been studying Spiritism for 2.5 years. So who do you think they would choose to speak about Spiritism? The psychiatrist. But the guy had no notion. No, I liked the guy. The guy was nice, but he had no notion about anything. So that's the point. That's what I'm talking about, right? This is what really matters, is the prideful, the arrogant thing that sometimes makes the institutions so sometimes even dangerous, right? Because of this, right? The Catholic Church was this all the time, right? Now I am not Christian, but now my emperor became Christian. Now, okay, yes, I'm going to be Christian, but the way he will demand us to be. So, and then that's why all this Christianity and its mistakes was born, right? So because of this, we give this kind of praise to these positions of the world, and Jesus Christ, the apostle, were just the contrary thing compared to all that, right?
Mhm.
I seen.
Yes, that's part of one of the things that they look at before when they're considering somebody to be a saint. Were they guilty of the sin of pride? Because that was one of the things that I remembered with Mother Teresa. They
Well,
go through that.
yeah, that's it, right? So I think we are okay. Who's that? Anna, you're muted, please, Maria.
Quer falar, Ana? Talvez eles te escutem.
Okay, she can do it on her phone.
Pode falar.
Seu celular, seu microfone está aberto, então é melhor você deixar no mudo.
Tá bom, então. Você não quer... Então, o Luiz vai continuar aqui, tá bom?
Já está acabando, eu acabaria, mas...
Pode continuar, Luiz.
Okay, now it's time to go, right, people? We have to go. So thank you, Haishin, for your remark. Very good too, right? And let's see if we can conquer this humility that's not easy at all. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
have
you,
a nice week,
everybody.
people.
Love
Thank
you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.